Welcome back to Rank and File Sports, where we are grading every single NFL draft class based on three categories. First of all, we're going to grade based off of whether or not the team drafted the players that fit their needs for next season, as well as the overall talent that they got, just assessing the draft class as a whole. And then finally, the value. Is each player worth where they were drafted at? Were they a steal at that position, or did the team maybe reach a little bit and not get as good a value as they could have if they had traded the pick? And then after that, we're going to go ahead and give them an overall grade. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video.
Hoping to finally get over the hump and beat the Chiefs in the playoffs when it matters, the Bills came into the NFL draft needing a cornerback, wide receiver, defensive tackle, edge rusher, and a safety. And with their first round pick, they took Maxwell Hairston, cornerback from Kentucky. And this was a great pick. Met their needs. Very talented player, number four overall corner. Was ranked 18th in the draft class entirely, and they got him at the very end of the first round. So incredible value. They did pass up on Will Johnson, likely due to his injury history, and he may be the better corner overall, but if you're banking on a guy to play either right away or to at least get reps right away and not have to worry about injury, Maxwell Harrison was definitely the guy to pick. So overall, a very good start to this draft class.
Yeah, it's definitely the safer pick too. Kind of like you were saying. TJ Sanders, their second round pick, also very great value. He was the seventh ranked D tackle out of South Carolina, and I think again he's going to fit in really well on this defensive line. So this should be another really good pick for Buffalo.
Yep. Keeping it going in the third round, dressing yet another need, this time taking edge rusher Landon Jackson. Dude's kind of ginormous, but also pretty quick. He's 6'6", 264, but jumped 40 and a half inches at the combine and jumped 10 feet 9 inches in the broad jump. So overall, just a really athletic dude. And this is going to be, once again, a huge addition to this defensive line, especially considering they have had issues with Von Miller, the fact that he's getting older and also dealing with a lot of injuries. And I believe he also retired. So this was definitely a huge need, and getting Landon Jackson at the beginning of the third round when he was a potential second round talent in a very deep edge class, once again, great pick by the Bills here.
Yeah, their next one also just continuing to add to that defensive line. Deion Walker out of Kentucky, probably one of the only bright spots on that Kentucky team from last season. Another really good pick, and three straight picks on the D line. In a few years, this could be absolutely disgusting for Buffalo.
Yeah, I really like Deion Walker. I thought he would maybe be ranked a little bit higher, but maybe he was brought down just because Kentucky was quite bad last year, but I think he's going to thrive in this Bills defense. For the fifth straight pick in a row, they took another corner, this time taking Jordan Hancock from Ohio State. Another very solid pick, maybe a little bit of a reach, but does boost that secondary and also kind of serves two needs. While he's primarily a slot corner, especially last year at Ohio State, he did play some sets at the free safety position. So he's currently listed as the third string free safety in the Bills depth chart. But that versatility, along with just like an elite nose for the ball and unrelenting pressure, Jordan Hancock is once again a phenomenal pick for this Bills defense.
Next up is Jackson Hawes, a tight end out of Georgia Tech. And I think this is kind of an interesting pick. Um, I don't know if they really need tight end, but it seems like he's more of a blocker. So not really that bad of a pick for the Bills. Just a little bit interesting comparing this to their other selections so far.
Yeah, decent value, and they could definitely use him, especially if they plan on moving on from Dawson Knox in the future, considering Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid are the two tight ends right now. But Still a little puzzling if they don't plan on moving on from Dawson Knox and plan to have him around for a long time. But still incredible talent. Maybe they could get some sets with him. In the start of the sixth round, they took Dorian Strong, another cornerback from Virginia Tech this time. Once again, pretty great value for corner. He's 6'1", 185, physical press corner. Just once again, a very great pick. It's always good to bolster your secondary, especially in such a loaded conference. Like again, like I said at the very beginning, if they want to get over the hump and beat the Chiefs, they need guys that can cover the skies because Patrick Mahomes has been beating them time and time again during the playoffs. So Dorian Strong is going to be a very welcome addition to this Bills secondary.
Next up, towards the end of the sixth round, they went ahead and took Chase Lunt out of UConn. Probably just going to be some O-line depth here. Really not bad to shore up the offensive line depth ever. So he's a 4-year starter, and there's talks that he maybe will move in from tackle to guard, but the fact that he has that versatility makes this a really good pick as well.
Absolutely. And then to finish off this draft class, they took Caden Prather, a wide receiver from Maryland, finally addressing that wide receiver need, but they did reach quite a bit. Um, but I honestly don't think it matters as much, especially at the end of the seventh round. At that point, you're taking either best available or you're taking a guy that you really like. And honestly, I can see why the Bills would really like Prather here. He's 6'4", 204, good combination of size and speed, 50-50 ball getter. Like he's going to fit in perfectly with this Josh Allen offense. So it's not really going to matter if he's not the most technical or like the flashiest player. If he's just a big dude that does the job right, it's going to be a welcome addition to this Bills offense.
So overall, we're going to give them a B plus grade for meeting their needs. The main factor here is the fact that they waited until the last round to take a wide receiver. But other than that, I'd say they met the other four. Technically, they didn't meet safety, but Jordan Hancock, because he can play corner and safety, I do think he's most likely going to end up as a safety in the NFL. I don't think they would have drafted 3 corners without the plan to put one of them at safety, and Hancock most fits that bill. Talent wise, we're going to give him an A minus. So I think overall they kind of crushed every pick here. Hairston and Dorian Strong are going to be great corners. Hancock, great safety. Sanders and Jackson and Walker are going to be really strong on this defensive line. A lot of these guys, I think, are going to see some solid reps during the season for the Bills, rotating it on the defense. Value wise, we're gonna give them a B plus. There weren't really that many reaches. Everybody was just pretty good value for where they got them at. Overall, it's nothing really crazy. They didn't get like anybody way lower than they should have, or reach way further than they should have. Every pick made quite a bit of sense. So B plus value overall, gonna be a B plus draft for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, very, very good draft class from the Bills. And even though we did give them a B plus, outside of that Caden Prather pick and the Jackson Hawes pick, everything here is phenomenal. And honestly, I would give them an A just from like a Bills fan perspective because they crushed it. Like every single need that they had was essentially met for one reason or another. I still think Caden Prather can be a difference maker for them, but they could have definitely gotten a wide receiver earlier on. And there are some undrafted wide receivers that have a lot of potential too. So maybe that's their plan as well. But overall, very, very excellent draft class for the Buffalo Bills. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more of our videos, including the rest of our draft grades. And we will see you in the next one.